So we've all seen those videos, those paternity tests. Who is the father? Who is the mother? Who cheated on who? But ladies and gentlemen, today we are about to witness the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Maury. I am talking the most insane paternity test we might have ever read. Without further ado, let's dive into the madness. Stranger says my deceased husband cheated and he is his secret son. Now he's plotting something, but the DNA test revealed the truth. This is like the ultimate version of sweeping something under the rug. You know what I mean? When you're like, okay, look, I could tell my family about my secret family, or I could just wait till I'm 6 feet under and then it'll be popping up like, hey, I'm your kid. Hey, I'm your kid. My life turned upside down last month when I was informed of my husband's death in a work-related accident. This would, of course, be hard enough to cope with. But shortly before the funeral, there was a young man that came at my house claiming to be my late husband's son. Oh, God, like already you're dropped, like the husband just passed away and now we have like a secret son. Like, read a room, bro. Have you heard of timing? My husband didn't speak a word about him to me. He claimed to have not known about me or either of my daughters, 12 and 8, until he was notified of my husband's death and found the obituary in the online version of our local paper. This young man was 18 and must have been born before I met my husband. He also claimed his own mother passed away years ago and was never to his memory in a relationship with my husband. So the boy's existence is not proof of infidelity on my husband's part. However, I still feel just as betrayed. My husband never breathed a word of him to me. The boy lives in the UK where my husband sometimes worked. I live in the US. He traveled a lot in his line of work and I can't help but wonder how many other secret children did he have? I mean, how many times did my husband visit this boy and never tell me about it? What else was he not telling me? The boy had pictures with himself and my husband at various ages. He says he was brought up at boarding school and my husband visited him sometimes. Though I very much want to, I have no reason to doubt his story. The boy asked to come to the... Well, hold on. So he just shows up at the doorstep and he's like, I'm this man's son. I mean, I guess, okay, he does have some pictures. Are you sure you're not like, it's not like a cousin or something? I don't know. Look, on this show, we've figured out one thing. Where are the test results? Where is the DNA test? Where is the paternity test? Like, after doing this show and after reading stories like these, y'all, this happens, I would get the paternity test. Like, what are we doing? The boy asked to come to the funeral. I want to say no, but I feel like I have no right. That is hard. Like, if this boy is truly his son, right? Still, there's some seeds of doubt there. Even though it seems like she believes that he is his true son. I don't know. We just don't know for a fact yet. I'm still skeptical, but we'll see. My kid sees me talking to the stranger and poke their head in to ask what's going on. Before I can stop him, the boy introduces himself to them as their half brother. Oh my God. Okay, my guy was already not reading the room. Now he's doing this. He's blowing up the mom's spot. Like, what if, I mean, I guess the kids are like really young, they're 12 and 8, but like now not only do I have to figure out how to cope with all this information myself, but I have to find some way to explain it to my children. Yeah, my 8-year-old doesn't seem to get the full implications of her father keeping this kind of secret from all of us, but my 12-year-old is clearly upset, although she won't talk about it with me. Oh, God, I'm OP's daughter. At the funeral, the boy kind of lurked in the corner, but when lunch was served afterwards, he approached both of my girls and was playing games like tag with my 8-year-old and some of her friends who joined in. I didn't think this was appropriate, and when I told him so, he apologized and said he did it to raise her spirits, and it's what people did for him when his mother passed to cheer him up. Oh my God. My heart is on its last line. The monitor is about to go. Pull the plug on me because I don't know how much more I can take. Something about his answer irked me, and I got the impression he was trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for him and using my children to do it. That's a good theory. My mom and my sister came up to help me after I got the news about my husband. Of course, I talked to them about what was going on, and they were shocked. My mom brought up the point that this boy might be after money. All of our important assets were in both of our names, and I am the only beneficiary of his life insurance policy. But I was not sure what could happen if he tried to sue. I asked the boy frankly if money is what he was after, and he said, no, I couldn't take any of your money. You have kids to take care of. It irked me the way he said it, as though I was offering money and he was trying to show how good he was by turning it down. It felt as though he expected me to give it to him anyways. Yeah, you know, when you're over at your friend's house and they're like cleaning or doing the dishes, and you're like, hey, you know, if you need any help, like I'm totally here to do that. And then in your mind, you're like, these dishes, I'm not trying to do that. Just kidding. All my friends, you know, I'm always here to help with your dishes. But yeah, this is like that, but times a million. I asked the boy what he wanted, and he said he wanted to get to know my children because they're his sisters. They might be his sisters, but he is a stranger to them regardless of biological relation. Apparently at the funeral, he told my 8-year-old he was going to ask me if he could take my girls to the aquarium, and so that he got her hopes up about it before I could even make a decision. Again, that is just not, come on, bro. Like, yeah, you're doing too much with stuff like that. I said yes, only if my mom and sister went with them, because I wasn't about to let my girls go with a strange man no matter what. And we still don't know if he's the full blood relative yet, or half brother, whatever. Over the next week, he took my girls to the park, ice cream place, and the lake with my sister as a chaperone every time. I agreed to this, and it was helpful because it gave me the chance to break down and cry to my mom without the girls around. Oh, OP, my heart goes out to you. When he left and my 8-year-old hugged him and told him not to go, and he said, I promise I'll come to visit again. I stepped in and said, no, I think it would be best if you didn't come back here. He looked hurt and my 8-year-old cried, but I was sick of seeing him promise things without getting approval. She thinks it's a cool mystery, like from a TV show, that she has a secret brother, and she doesn't realize how disturbing it is that her father hid his existence. Yeah, like, I don't know. Put down in the comments below, would you in that moment have like said it in front of the two of them? My sister asked me later why I told him not to come back, and I told her I think the whole thing is weird. I don't know this boy or his real intentions. He could be some kind of weirdo trying to get my girls alone. That is very true. My sister says I judged without ever getting to know him, and he seems like a very sweet young man. He grew up mostly without a family, and he could have been jealous that my girls got all of his father's attention, but instead he wanted to connect with them. That is also very true. Like, I mean, this kid, basically grew up very, very, very limited time with his father, it seems. So I don't know. This is crazy. My opinion is that even if those are his intentions and he's totally innocent, I still don't want him around my home or my girls. To me, he is just proof that my husband lied to me for years, and it makes me sick to look at him. My girls don't need this drama either. And even my 8-year-old is going to be traumatized once she is old enough to realize how much her dad was hiding. Me or my girls don't owe him anything. My sister says that I don't want him in my life, but I don't have the right to deny the girls their brother. She pointed out social workers do everything they can to avoid separating siblings because of the trauma. I said it's not the same thing because my girls have only known this brother for a week. My sister said it's also important because my girl's brother is now the only person they know of their culture, quote unquote. My husband was like 1/8 Hawaiian, the rest white and Asian. So the girls and their brother are 1/16. The boy appears to be white, and my daughters and I are black. But this boy was raised in the UK, and he isn't part of Hawaiian culture. And honestly, I think culture is something natural and not something to force because of genetics. My girls don't live in Hawaii. They live in Oregon. So that is their culture, not quote unquote black culture or quote unquote Hawaiian culture. I don't force myself or my girls to participate in African culture just because of our genetics. I thought my 8-year-old would get over her brother, and she did go several weeks without asking about him. But yesterday she asked about him again. I feel bad about ever allowing them to go anywhere together and bond. Yeah, that's tricky. You're in this rock and a hard place now where it's like you don't want to kind of continue this relationship because I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, y'all, I need your take. This is really what I need here. I wish I'd handled the whole thing differently, and now I don't know how to explain the situation to my kids. My 12-year-old hasn't asked about her brother, but she has been extremely closed off since her father's passing, and I don't know how this issue might be complicating what she's feeling. I just need some outside opinions to know what to do about this. It seems people were also torn about this. So most comments were calling original OP the a-hole or saying that she needed to allow her daughters to know their brother. Some people asked the original OP why she didn't ask for a DNA test, to which she replied, I thought about maybe asking the boy about a DNA test, but I don't know what it would achieve. I don't want him in my life or my daughter's life either way. And even if the DNA test came back negative, it would only raise more questions. And I don't know if it would open up any legal troubles where now I owe the boy money from my husband's estate if it comes back positive. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if we have any lawyers watching right now. But yeah, what is the situation with if a child is proven to be related that kind of comes out of the woodwork like this? Are they entitled to anything? I guess specifically in the States, but he was in the UK. Feel free to drop down in the comments your take below, because I do not know what would happen here. And in response to the comments about it being a scam, she initially made these edits to her post. Well, the comments are alerting me now to how this might be a scam attempt, and that has opened my eyes. I didn't want to introduce the stranger to my kids, but when he showed up to deliver such shocking news to my children, came in and asked what was going on, he introduced himself before I could think about how to tell my children. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, generally in any of these scenarios, I feel like if someone is claiming to be a relative or something, especially at a time of passing something like this, my initial reaction would have been like, okay, let's get a DNA test and see if this is real. He asked if he could show up to the funeral, and I felt like I couldn't say no to that, but then used it as an in with my children. He offered to them behind my back to take them somewhere, so then I would feel like the bad guy if I said no. It rubbed me the wrong way, but I brushed it off. I was in a vulnerable state, not thinking clearly, and he took advantage of that. I should have trusted my instincts from the beginning. The idea that there could be scammers that prey on grieving families is just so horrible. I had no idea of such a thing. You gotta be pretty scum of the earth to do that kind of stuff. I've contacted a lawyer to figure out how to establish if there is truth to his story and what my legal obligations are to the boy. I'm also going to have a long talk with my sister to see if in their outings he had done any kind of prying that might have led to him learning information about my family that he could use somehow. I'm already in the process of getting therapy for my children and myself. That's actually something I was going to mention earlier. I mean, there's already a lot of traumatization, I think, for these poor children. They're 12 and 8 years old. They just lost their father. I'm just very glad to hear that OP is putting her children through therapy, because I definitely think that they deserve that. Edit number 2, people have been saying a lot of nasty things about me, and I don't think I'm going to get much more productive input on this, so this is going to be my last opinion on the topic. I've considered taking the post down, but I decided to leave it up so people can be aware that scammers operate like this. They can be so good at what they do, even hundreds of third-party outsiders will take the scammer side. In hindsight, I can't believe I didn't see it, and I cannot believe I ever let such a person step foot in my home or even speak to my children. Apparently, the goal was not to ask for money right away. It was to get close to me and my children and ask me for money later for a fake emergency. Other commenters have elaborated on how this works. If my daughter asks about her brother again, I'll tell her that she was tricked. I don't want to do that to her unless I'm completely sure. So I'm likely going to be asking the boy for a DNA test, birth certificate, etc. However, not until I have the chance to speak to my lawyer. All right, y'all. There's a big, juicy, seeping, bursting at the rims update. But we gotta take a pause. We gotta take a breather. I mean, I can see why OP is so torn. And it's definitely easy to sit here and be like, okay, we can critique, the different choices of like, should she have put up a hard wall immediately? Should she have asked for the DNA test initially? It's easy to kind of pick apart, but I think one big thing to remember is she is in major grief probably. And then also, I guess you could almost kind of put it in a similar category as grief, finding out that her husband hid this lie, which it seems really bothers her, which is very understandable. Yeah, I don't know where I would be at in this type of situation, because there's just so many emotions and you're probably so charged while you're going through these things, and you're like, all you want is just to be able to sit down and be like, let me just process this. Let me just, I don't know, like have some peace. In fairness to the boy too, like let's say we still don't have the DNA test results. If this really was his father, if his father visited him and he didn't get a chance to see him, and he's seeing these two girls that grew up with the father. Oh, if any of you have stories like this, I'm very curious for you to share your thoughts and opinions below, and maybe share your story as well. You can share it in the comments. Also, we have r/OKOP show, our subreddit, where we've been reading a lot of y'all's stories. I don't know. This is just an insane situation. It seems like all of the main people are going through a lot, and I just feel sad for them, guys. I feel sad. But we have something else. The update. I was wrong and I was the a-hole. My husband's son, I wasn't trying to demean him by calling him the boy. I was avoiding using names, was telling the truth. Oh, my husband's name wasn't on his birth certificate, but the DNA test did show that he was related to my kids. He also had more photos, cards, voicemails, and tons of evidence to prove that my husband did keep in regular contact with him. Okay, so maybe even a lot more contact than we initially thought. Apparently, the son's grandparents were his legal guardians. My husband occasionally gave them cash under the table child support. I did notice that my husband would sometimes make large withdrawals when he went overseas. He said it was because the shops there didn't take his car. Hearing this now, it makes it sting that much harder that he did keep this lie from his wife. And it's like, why? Because if he had the kid, even OP said 18 years, that was outside of the window of their relationship. Why did he not tell her? Why? I wanted to believe it was a scam because I thought it made more sense than my husband having lied. Talking to my husband's son a bit more revealed that he'd been lying to him too. Apparently, he told him he was a cowboy and a pro football player. Then when my son Googled him, he switched to saying that he was a gangster who had done prison time. What the what? This guy was already like going to piece of shitville, but my mayor just became the president, prime minister of Scumville bag. And we always say on this show, were there no zero red flags? Come on. Needless to say, none of that is remotely true. I can't fathom what could possess him to behave this way. Lying to me, lying to his kid, not raising his kid. I'm questioning everything my husband ever told me and wondering if it was me who passed away, would he have abandoned our kids as well? I felt horrible for this boy. I'm in therapy and working on ways to cope and forgive my husband for my own peace of mind. She's helped me work out why I reacted to my husband's son the way I did. I thought he was manipulating me and my kids, but what I actually sensed was that he wanted something from me and my kids. I felt like me and my daughters were not in a place to give anything emotionally or financially, so I recoiled for him, but that doesn't mean that he's a threat. My kids went to therapy as well. My 12-year-old has weekly sessions. However, my 8-year-old hated it, so I've pulled her out for now. Many people have shared their own stories of being separated from bio relationships and the effect that it had on them. I don't understand it because genes don't mean that much to me. However, I don't have to understand it to respect it. I personally don't feel like I'm in any place to have any kind of relationship with my husband's son, and I don't think he wants one with me. He now appears scared of me, which I do feel bad about. I wasn't trying to hurt him or scare him, but I will allow him to visit sometimes if my girls want to see him. Sister agreed to continue to supervise. As far as money goes, the lawyer advised me that there aren't many assets that the son is entitled to because they were in both my and my husband's names, except for a few investments accounts that were only in my husband's name. Thankfully, they weren't the majority of our savings. I know people think I'm an evil witch for caring about money, but I needed to feed, clothe, and educate my own children. Whew, man, there's a little bit more, but really quickly, this poor kid, he's going through his own grieving, you know, probably did not know his father or have a relationship with his father to the degree that he wanted to, is in pain seeing these kids also have that kind of relationship with him, probably just yearning for some sort of connection, specifically a familial connection, given that he didn't have as much time with his dad as it seems he would have wanted to. Oh God, this is just one of those where everybody loses, guys. I want everyone to win. Let's keep going. I don't feel like I really count as a step parent. I don't know if I'm in the right place for this. When I went to other subs for advice, it felt like an angry mob, and I'm hoping people might be able to relate to some of the things that I'm going through. I didn't know my husband had a son until after I became a widow. His son is 18 and lives in the UK, where my husband regularly visited him without telling me. My husband apparently kept our family, myself and my 2 daughters, 13 and 8, a secret from his son as well. The son found out about us after my husband passed away and showed up at my door to introduce himself. I didn't handle it well at the time. I was in a fog and not prepared to process anything, let alone the fact that my husband had been hiding a secret of such magnitude from me. I let him get close to my daughters, but when he said he would come back to visit, I reacted negatively and told him not to come back. After talking things through with my mother and sister, I realized I didn't have the right to keep my daughters from their brother. They wanted a relationship with him. I reached out to the boy to confirm his story and decide on a time to visit. It was supposed to be late next month. Okay. My sister was supposed to come out and help and supervise all interactions between my children and their brother, because I am not mentally prepared to be around him, and I'm not sure I ever will be. Even though I know my feelings are irrational, I honestly want nothing to do with this boy. I know my husband's behavior is not his fault and that he is a victim too, too. But even just looking at his face is a reminder that my husband lied to me for our entire relationship. If I had known he had a child, I might have chose a different life. I got pregnant in college with my oldest. He was older and with a stable job and able to provide for me and my child. He made all these promises that he'd take care of me, take care of our baby. He'd help me get through college, and he'd be the good father he never had. And he already had a child that he wasn't raising. If I had known that, I might have terminated the pregnancy and walked away. I fell in love with him when he said those things, and now I feel like the person I fell in love with never even existed. I don't know if he ever loved me or our kids. I don't know if he was playing a game with us or using us to build an image. I don't know if he was faithful to me on all of these overseas trips. I can't trust anything he ever told me anymore. None of this is the son's fault. He's innocent. I know that, but even remembering his existence brings up so many feelings I can't deal with, which is why my sister said that she would help supervise. She played chaperone when my husband's son was getting to know my kids. Eventually, she said she'd be willing to do it again. We picked a time and she said that she would be there. Today, she tells me that she can't do it. Oh man. Her job is understaffed and she can't get the time off work. My mom can't do it either. She has a surgery coming up and won't be able to travel. My dad will also need to be home to take care of her. I am not leaving my kids alone with their brother, what my sister suggested, since he is frankly still a stranger to me and to them. There might be a 99% chance that he's pure intentions, but that 1% chance isn't one I'm willing to take. There are all kinds of stories out there about children being abused from trusted family members. Yes, absolutely. So my only options are to cancel this visit, which my kids, especially my 8-year-old, are looking forward to. And I don't want to take away one of the few things they've been able to feel happy about since my husband passed away, or, okay, be the chaperone myself. I thought she was about to cancel it. This would also mean I need to take time off work. I could manage, but it's not ideal. I just don't think I can do it. I didn't choose to be a stepmother. I'm sure the boy doesn't want me as one either. I apparently scared him when I told him not to come back and when we talked on Zoom, since he acted nervous and flinchy, like he was afraid I was about to hit him or something. I feel bad about that, as it wasn't my intention. I don't think I can do this. I feel like the meeting is a disaster waiting to happen. Like it's only a matter of time before I lose my temper and ruin the meeting that my kids have been looking forward to. I just have this feeling of dread. I don't know if anyone can help. Maybe it's a long shot. I have therapy on Thursday and I hope it'll help me sort some things out. I feel like I just can't do this. It's humiliating to even share this problem with anyone. And even if I try to talk things out with one of the few people I do trust, it's always think about your kids, think about your husband's son, put yourself in their shoes. People even show more sympathy for my husband than me. Maybe it was a coping mechanism for his childhood trauma. Maybe he has a good reason. I'm just burnt out on putting everyone else first and trying to fill the role of both parents for my kids right now. I feel like it's only so long before I snap and the rope is just getting a lot thinner. Edit, thank you for all the kind words and advice. When I posted, I was thrown for a loop and on the verge of a mental breakdown. Having had some time to sleep on it, I feel like things are going to turn out okay. I'll look at some of the suggestions, such as a professional nanny / babysitting services to go along with them. That makes a lot of sense. My sister has also said that she might be able to work remotely during those weeks and be able to supervise while the kids hang out in his hotel room, McDonald's, library, or somewhere else while she can work while watching. Not ideal because it means they would have to cancel some planned activities. Canceling or postponing the trip would be a last resort. I won't make any decision rashly. I'm going to take a few days to think about things, talk it out with my therapist on Thursday, and have a definite answer by Monday. It might not be possible for me to supervise. At first, I was panicked because I didn't think I would have to and I felt unprepared, but I might be able to psych myself up for it with time. I've been through much worse trials than this. Sometimes I just need to remind myself that I'm stronger than I feel. I appreciate the kindness and civility from this community. I wasn't sure if my post belonged here, but you all seem much more understanding than other subs, and I truly appreciate it. And y'all were here, the final update. I don't think I'm going to post in this community more, as I don't really count as a step parent, but I've got some kind words from people here previously. I just wanted to say thank you all for being kind to me and presenting me with solutions when I was overwhelmed and panicking, and to let you all know how the visit went. So it happened. He stayed for about 1.5 weeks. Before he came over, we talked a few times on Zoom with me, him, and his grandparents. I told him my sister was not going to be able to supervise, and I was frank about how apprehensive I was feeling about being the one to supervise. I don't think he was thrilled about me supervising either. He knew and felt comfortable with my sister and not me, so the feeling was mutual. But we decided to go ahead with the visit anyways. We made a few changes in what they had previously previously planned when my sister was going to supervise, but not many. We also discussed contingency plans for if something went wrong and one of us needed space. Just knowing that I would have an out if I needed was a huge relief and helped me immensely. Overall, things went relatively well and he and I were civil. I got uncomfortable, but not to the point where I couldn't cope. He and my girls got along well, with the exception of one incident where my girls got into a spat with each other and he tried to intervene, which made them both mad at him. Hey, happens. But it was quickly resolved after each girl had their time stewing about it. I will say he was very good with both of my girls, especially my 8-year-old who has been having a very difficult time lately, even before her father passed away. She's been struggling a lot with school and trying to find the right treatment for multiple diagnoses. She's been acting out and very easily frustrating for a lot of the adults in her life, including me, I admit. I love her and I do my best, but she is difficult sometimes. With her brother, it seems like they're kindred spirits or something. He was a real trooper acting out scenes from the movie Encanto with her over and over. That is cute, y'all. That is the dose of adorable that we needed. My goodness. I realize it is probably really good for her to have an adult in her life who doesn't want anything from her except to spend time with her. My Grinch heart after this story just grew 3 sizes bigger. Yes, thank you. Before the boy left, I gave him a thank you card expressing this to him and that I do genuinely hope he chooses to stay involved. Overall, it was a positive thing and I'm glad that he went ahead with the visit. And thank you to those of you who left supportive comments. It was a much better experience posting here than when I've tried to seek advice in other subs. Oh man, did I lie to y'all? Did I fib? Did I cap? Yes, this is the insanity section of Reddit over here, guys. Oh my goodness. We've reached the end. We have come to the conclusion. So a few thoughts here. I feel like OP went on her own personal journey of being apprehensive, letting it happen, then coming back around and realizing maybe there were certain ways in which she handled it that was maybe very hurtful for her husband's son, who again is also like the victim in this scenario, is actually her husband's son, etc., etc. And that, the kids are able to reconnect because look, all of the children have lost their father. OP has lost both her husband and really like the memory of her husband because now she can't really trust anything that he said or did for her in their relationship. The fact that maybe there is a silver lining here where the 3 siblings can build a relationship together with each other coming out of a kind of awful situation. I'm really hoping and praying that is the consolation prize, I guess, of sorts in this scenario, because it's just so hard on everybody. Like everybody was just going through, it's just very traumatizing for every single person with their respective experiences. And I just really feel for them. Again, y'all, please drop your thoughts on this below. And if you have any, secret surprise family, we would love to hear from you, hear your perspective on this one. Please comment below and share your thoughts, share your own personal experiences. Also, if you want us to read it on the show, go to r/OKOP show on our subreddit, drop it in there. My goodness, y'all, I'm gonna need a sip of water. I need some agua to hydrate myself. But you know what? Let's get into the next one. I'm demanding a paternity test for my wife. I don't have proof. I just want it. But she revealed a truth that might destroy our family. There have been too many times on this show and in the universe where the guys are like, I don't think this baby looks like me. Please understand. 1, 9th grade biology, and number freaking 2. Why do you do this with no proof? Me and my wife of 3 years have a baby girl and she's 2. They're my world, and honestly, I've been beating myself up even having these thoughts, but recently I've doubted that she's really my biological daughter. Oh, buddy, please tell me you have a reason. We have similarities, but there are certain things that have me second guessing. My wife and I both have green eyes. I'm mixed and she's Italian and American. My baby has brown eyes, and I know it's possible for 2 green-eyed parents to have a brown-eyed baby, but I've read it's rare. At least this guy is red, okay? That's more than I can say for 99% of these stories. A few years back, I had to travel for work and I had my suspicions that my wife was cheating, but the thought alone brought me to tears. I've discussed it with her and she assured me that she was loyal to me. She has cheated in her previous relationships, but I didn't want to judge based on that because she was in high school and we've all done dumb we regret as kids. Yeah, like the high school stuff, you really can't, I think, pin that to people. We've talked about that before on this show. It's like, you're just too young. In a lot of these scenarios, it's like stupid, silly shit. You know what I'm saying? I have discussed my concerns with her, and to say I cause an argument would be an understatement, sharing about his doubts of the child being his. She got extremely upset and asked me how I could insinuate that she would ever cheat on me or that my baby isn't mine. I've spoken to her in the past about my doubts, and she told me she would never cheat. I brought it up again and said I had my doubts, but I'll drop it, and apologized. She got very defensive and started crying. I guess you want a paternity test since you don't believe me. Man, again, like, where is it coming from? If you catch some texts of, where your wife and your personal trainer are like, hey girl, let me see some of those progress pics. Yeah, there are times you find evidence, all these things. Yes, but we just don't have a lot of context here, buddy. Like I'm a little lost with you. I said no, but after speaking with my family about it, I think I may want one just to clear my mind. If she's mine, I'll hate myself for ever being doubtful. But if she's not, I still haven't thought about the consequences that can bring. Bro, you're literally saying like, oh, I haven't thought through the consequences. Think about them now. Take the time. Pour some tea. Sit down. Grab a journal. She is my daughter and I love her no matter what. But what would that do to my marriage? This has caused me so much internal conflict, and I've spent nights crying thinking I could be making the biggest mistake of my life. You could be. If anyone has any advice or has been in a similar situation from mine or from my wife's perspective, it would be greatly appreciated. There is a big update. One thing I will say is we've seen some really bad cases of this. What has happened? He seems to have a little more wherewithal than our average protagonist in these kinds of stories. But man, it's just, when you ask for a paternity test, you just gotta be ready. You are insinuating not only did your partner cheat on you, but they also had a child with someone else, hid it from you, and are coercing you basically into raising this child. Like, that is the implications of when you ask for a paternity test. There are, of course, other times on this show where someone walks into a room and they're getting plowed down going to Pound Town, and yeah, okay, there you go. There's some evidence to arouse some suspicions as well as some other things, if you know what I mean. But maybe we'll get the DNA test and see. Usually we do, but without further ado, let's get into this update. Comment below with this timestamp if you think that the baby is OP's or not. Update. I don't know if this is the right way to make an update post. I did make an edit on my original. I wasn't expecting to make this update, especially the day after. This conversation with my wife isn't new, but from the point where I made the comment, she's been very cold and threatening our marriage, saying I better not get the test done behind her back, and she would not allow it to happen at all. I've read comments from a lot of women saying that they'd be pissed too either way if the test was positive or negative from mistrust. So I thought that was the case. I mean, if it turns out that the kid isn't his, then that's very bad from the wife's perspective too, right? But let's keep going. Did have a long conversation this morning. She looked through my phone last night and found the post. That's what sparked the conversation up again. She said she was hurt that I would keep bringing this up and I should trust her and leave my insecurities behind. It was a long conversation. A lot of tears and words were said. I offered marriage counseling and dropped the topic of the DNA test. She refused and said it's ridiculous and doesn't want to involve anyone else in our marriage. Okay, counseling and receiving therapy and things of that nature, that is perfectly fine. That honestly makes me raise a flag. Like, Opie's wife is obviously very adamant about not getting a DNA test and all these other things, which in many ways is understandable, but with no counseling, that is kind of like, what's the issue? Why not involve a professional who helps people for a living try to sort through their marriage and get a set of outside eyes? Like, I don't know, for me, like, always getting a set of outside eyes on anything, I especially think in really deep interpersonal things where it's so easy to get caught up in our own emotions, is like a win. I would say that's a big fat positive. I read a lot of comments and stories saying that sometimes the guilt will get to them and they'll just confess without needing to do a test. I didn't think that would happen in my case, but it did. Oh no. She told me that she didn't want this to happen, but she did cheat on me, and my daughter is not mine. Oh my God. Did you guess it right? Didn't even need the DNA test. Ooh. Oh, damn. Damn, Daniel, damn. Oh, God. I can now, and I was beginning to piece it together a little bit with like, wait, no counseling. You were very adamant about no DNA tests, and like the way you were adamant about it, you know what I mean? She said she wanted me to be the father and loved me and thought this would be her best option. Oh, the best option to lie to someone and have them raise a child that isn't theirs. The best option? For who? For whom? She didn't want me to take a test and find out on my own, which I wish she would have come clean way before. Yes. Like, I don't know, before the baby's born? I didn't know how to respond, but asked who the father was because my mind is already making a million assumptions. She didn't tell me and began crying more, telling me not to hate her and not to end the marriage. Okay, what do you got for us? Oh my God. I feel like I'm hosting a kids show and it's like, you know, freaking Barney like, hey kids, guess what surprise Barney's got hiding for you around the corner? And it's divorce papers. I don't love you. You don't love me. We're divorced, no family, and I'll kick you out from my house. Fuck you. I hate you. You hate me too. I didn't say anything again, waiting for the answer. This happened early this morning and I didn't get the answer until this afternoon. I had to leave for work this morning, so when I came back, she had calmed down a bit and was ready to tell me. Her answer was probably the last thing I was expecting. She cried while saying this, but she said a few years back, I went on a business trip and she slept with my father, who she ran into on a drunk night. What would the DNA test have shown? Obviously not close enough to be the son, his son, OP's son, but oh my God. Oh my God. And you didn't tell him anything. No wonder she was so defensive. My father passed away in December from colon cancer when he was 45. That is young. He did meet my daughter, half sister, his daughter, I don't know, but never said anything clearly. She said they both decided it was a dumb mistake, a major understatement. That is a major understatement. And it'd be best to erase it and play me as being the father. Why? This man deserves to know the truth. This isn't his child. You had it with his father. Father, you should tell your son the truth because he's your son and you impregnated his wife and are having him raise the baby and not knowing. God. Me and my father never had the best relationship. I grew up with my single mom, but he was present in my life, and when he passed, it hurt my family a lot. So hearing this broke me. I am currently staying with my brother. I haven't spoken about what I've learned with anyone, even him. I don't think I've fully processed, so coming here to write this felt good, like a good place to get my thoughts out. I didn't say anything after she told me that and just left after she finished explaining. I don't know where I even go from here. I don't want to abandon my child while she's technically my half sister. God, but I do need time to process this. I don't think any amount of marriage therapy will fix this. So divorce is my next step. That is fine, bro. Go for it. Divorce, divorce, divorce. Our poor man OP over here. I am going to seek a therapist for myself and help myself so I can be there for my daughter. Oh, my heart. Here it is, exploding. Cannot process all these emotions. Oh man, this is crazy. So we had OP, who in the beginning, you know, I was like, is he one of the manosphere guys that were one of his brosifs? You know, hit him with an Andrew Tate link, Hustlers University, and then he's just going crazy. I feel like he had more suspicions than the context than he explained, or maybe it was just a feeling that he had, but that he couldn't quite articulate. But because it is kind of interesting to me that he suspected it, even though the son was actually related to him, or the baby. So low-key impressive. That I feel like I would never be able to tell. My God. And then how on earth, how on the universe could the father, OP's father and OP's wife think that that was possibly, I mean, it's a lie. And doesn't he deserve to know the truth? And OP's wife, like living with that is crazy. OP's father passing away and not saying anything. Holy moly. Good gravy golly. Well, if let me guys know your thoughts down below, please. I would love to hear your perspective and any of your craziest cheating stories. Or you know what? Maybe you did a little dirt yourself. Feel free to throw those stories in the comments below. A craziest cheating story. My guys, I'm gonna need some of this agua, but let me chug this. My wife cheated and my baby's not mine. That's okay. But my mom's starting to ask questions and I'm terrified of what's next. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Raising another person's child thinking that it was gonna be yours would not be fun. Let's read the dang story. I, 30 male, and I'm in a relationship with my wife, 29 female, and we've been together for 8 years, but we grew up together and we were friends from elementary school. Wow, long relationship. I also have 2 children, 4 female, who we can call Chloe, fake name, and a baby boy that's 5 months old. Around 5.5 years ago, one of our best friends had passed away from cancer. We had known him since we were 9, so this hit us both hard. During this time, we argued a lot and we spent time away from each other, but eventually figured things out and realized we were better together. Maybe 2 weeks after we got back together, she told me that during our time apart, she was with another man who happened to be someone we both were friends with in high school, who we can call Jonah for the sake of the story. Now, it was a bit upsetting at first, but after some discussion, we were able to accept it and move on. Another 2 weeks or so passed by, and we find out that she is pregnant. Oh, see, tangled love, tangled cords, guys. Everything is tangled. We are in an entangled situation. Oh, God. They say you only need one time. That's what they say. And ladies and gentlemen, oh boy. I know Ava isn't mine. I've known from the start and have accepted that fact, but I love her. She is my daughter and nothing will change that. You know what? Shout out to OP. At least there was some upfront honesty here. And, I guess OP is okay with it and moves on. That's okay. Is that okay? I don't know. When I looked into my daughter's eyes for the first time, it was heartbreaking to see the face of a man that I considered my friend for all of those years. But I didn't tell anyone, not even my wife, until Ava was 2 years old. Okay, so I guess so far he knows about the cheating, she got pregnant, and he basically put 2 and 2 together, but they haven't actually discussed it up until she's 2. So like almost 3 years pretty much removed from that time, I guess. When I confronted her about it, she admitted that was her fear because Ava honestly looks like a carbon copy of Jonah. She asked if I wanted a paternity test and I denied because I am really scared I could lose legal rights of my baby girl. The past 4 years, she's been my girl. I love her more than words can describe, and I got over that heartbreak so quickly. I love her and my son equally. But here are where the issues start. Gotta love the issues. Ever since my son was born, my family have started to question my daughter's biology as my son looks just like my wife and whereas my daughter looks like nothing of either of us. My mom recently came up to me and said, I need to do a paternity test for Ava as I can't have my boy raising a baby that isn't his. This really upset me, but I kept my cool and told my mom that Ava is my daughter. I never told her in the first place because she treats my sister's stepson like crap and I don't want my girl to be treated like that. This mom sounds terrible. I totally get her being upset that the child isn't his because in her mind, if I'm thinking through it all correctly and I'm mathing the math, she would think, oh, the wife has lied to you and is making you raise a child that isn't yours, which is something very much that is okay to be upset about, to be clear. I don't know. I'm some bad vibes, some bad juju is what I'm sniffing out. Well, my mom was committed to this and went to my wife and managed to trick her into telling the truth. She came back over to me and yelled at me for raising an illegitimate child. Okay, so like real question, like what do you do if you're like your child's an adult? Like, what are you gonna be like, son, you need to go to your room raising a child that isn't yours. No more TV time after 9 p.m. Like, what? What are you doing? Like, I get being concerned, wanting to be like, hey, let's, this is not a good situation for you. I want the best for you. I don't want you in a terrible life setup like this could be, fathering a child that you didn't know is yours. But like, what are you really gonna do to this guy? Like, what can you possibly do? He's like 30 years old. He's a grown ass man with children. Come on now. We left the situation fast, but my mom hasn't stopped texting me about how I lied for 4 years and that my wife is the cheater. Mom's going off right now. I explained to everyone after in a calm way that my wife didn't cheat and just went into a bit more depth. While my other family besides my mom don't care that she isn't mine, they are upset at me for keeping this information away for so long. But I personally think it was none of their business in the first place, as my own daughter doesn't even know. So am I the a-hole? Is this what the family is mad about? It's just like, look, ultimately, this business is between OP's wife, and the children. Those are the people that are involved in this situation, right? The other family, freaking cousin Billy Bob Joe, like, what does he have to do with this? Like, I don't understand being mad that they didn't tell you. I mean, they are family, and depending on their dynamic, yeah, maybe they're involved to the point to where that information could be useful in terms of navigating that relationship, I guess. But ultimately, like, I'm just kind of like, why is it? I don't know why you're mad. I think that's my main thing. Like, maybe it's more debatable on whether or not they should know, but like being able to choose on your own terms when that happens, or it's just happening when it happens. Like, I don't know. Like, I just like, and it also really depends too on what your dynamic is like with your family outside of your like your extended family. Because if you got like terrible extended family, like the mom, I don't know. The mom just give me bad vibes over here. I don't know. That's just me. Let's keep going. Edit. So I said Chloe at the top, but continue to use my daughter's real name. Yikes. I am an idiot, but I still don't think it's enough to give away our family identity. So it's okay. Sorry about that, new to Reddit. I guess we'll see. Edit number 2. So no, Jonah has no idea about her. Okay. Oh man, oh boy. I don't know. He's not safe. He has a child himself who I saw on his cousin's Facebook. Jonah blocked us after my wife and I got back together, but he lived in my town for another 3 years, so I heard news on him. Due to these subs rules, I can't say what, but he is a very bad man from what I know, hence why our friendship broke. He did stuff which should have him away for life, but he isn't. Oh my God, what is it? He said stuff about children, which absolutely deserves jail time for life. Yikes. Oh my God. I fear for his child, but I'm not putting my daughter in a situation where she could be badly hurt. I've tried to keep it low key in my post and comments about him, but it's not possible to do this anymore, as I would just seem like a selfish a-hole if I don't explain. It's all for my daughter's safety. Wow. I'm honestly very curious from all of your take. I mean, it looks like this guy could be, doing things, if you catch my drift, things that YouTube would not like me to share with children, possibly. I mean, if that's the case, yeah, that definitely is good context to understand. It sounds very, 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 very bad. Definitely let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on all of that, because that is a insane scenario to be in. All right, y'all. On to a very, very big update. My kid is 4, young. If you need to read my other posts, you will see that she isn't my biological daughter. She's my ex-best friend's, but I've loved her since day one and nothing will change that. My family had an issue with this, but I cut them off. I know in my other post I said no one cared about it, but it turned into a bigger deal because of my mom. I told you I smelled bad juju. The only people I've kept in contact with is my sister, one of them. She has always supported me ever since she found out about Ava's biology, and she hasn't cared and still loves my daughter the same as she loves my son. Thing is, my kids stayed the night. Halfway during my kid's time there, I get a text from my sister saying that my mom is there. She showed up unexpectedly. My mom knows I don't want her around my kids, so I drive to collect my kids and thank my sister for telling me. When I get there, I find my sister angry and holding my sobbing daughter. My son is in my mother's lap. I leave without sparing a look at my mother apart from when I took my son from her. When we got home, my daughter was still crying. I picked her up and cuddled her super close and asked what happened. She looked at me in the eyes and said, "Grandma says you're not my real daddy. I want you to be my real daddy. I don't want you to love baby brother more than me." Oh my God. Oh my God. I see very clearly why OP cut the mom out of his life. And I see why he doesn't want to associate with the people that his mom has like turned against him. What? She's 4. She is 4 years old. What the actual Oh my God. Oh my God. So I'm peaking on these levels right now, but what? I think at this point, lying would do her more harm in the future. So I sat her down and explained that I am her real daddy because I loved her and I raised her. I just didn't help make her. She was confused and asked if I made her baby brother. I didn't lie and said yes. I also explained how I love them both equally, and the fact that I didn't make her does not change that. I hated seeing her little heart break, but lying more would have hurt her more. She clings to things. Information. Now, every night at bed, she asks, "Daddy, do you still love me like you love baby brother's name, right?" Oh my God, guys, my heart is dissolving and falling through my body, and it's gonna piss out of my booty hole into a toilet of sadness, flushing away all the happiness. Oh my God. Jeez. It's like she's scared I don't love her the same because my mom said I love my son more because he's mine. Oh my God. I love her just as much as I love him. I don't come on Reddit much, but I'm just really lost here. I know me telling her the truth would save a lot of future trust issues and stuff, but it breaks me that she thinks I don't love her the same as my baby. The plan was to tell her when she's older, but she's at the age now where there's still a chance that she will remember this. Edit. I want to add that bio dad doesn't know. He's a dangerous man, and I wouldn't ever trust her around my kid. He would try to get custody, and neither my wife or I trust him around our daughter. She needs to be protected, and I was under the impression that she was mine, but I knew from day one that she wasn't. I confronted my wife when my kid was 2. Extra info, feel free to ask for questions. Edit number 2, if you really think the bio dad should know, PM me and I will tell you why he shouldn't be able to get near her. I'm not going to say it here because it seems like too much for Reddit. If that's her issue, then just speak directly with me. Oh man, guys, I don't know how much more my heart could take. I'm at the brink, but there is another update, which actually I think has some happiness. So let's read it. So we had some amazing suggestions, and I want to thank everyone who offered good advice for me and my little girl. We used the idea of Legos and building blocks. She had favorite bunny Teddy that she sleeps with all the time, literally all day, every day. We see that Teddy. So what I did was sat down on a mat and we had a daddy-daughter challenge thing. She got me to make a structure of her mommy, and I got her to make one of her bunny. By the end of it, she made her bunny. So now I put up in front of her the Teddy bunny and the Lego bunny. I asked her which one she loved more, and she said obviously her Teddy bunny. And I asked her why, and she said because it's my bunny and I had it for forever. Oh, so I made it a point to say that the bunny is like her. I've loved her forever, and that she's so special to me, that I love her so much that she couldn't be replaced even though I didn't make her. Just because she didn't make the bunny doesn't mean that she doesn't love it. I did use a similar example, but in a different way to explain her about her baby brother, by the way. It satisfied her and she is happy with that example. We use the term now, I love you like you love bunny. Obviously it's a silly little term, but it helps her understand it so much better. Oh man. Oh wow. That was a great suggestion. Honestly, shout out to whoever did that. That is, oh, my heart like hurts, but it's also healing at the same time. It's like my heart is scabbing over right now. I think that's the best way I could possibly describe this emotion that I'm feeling right now. But my God, you know what? Okay, so breaking it all the way down, shout out to mother OP. Okay, this man took in this child, loved it like his own, defended her so much, kept her away from all of this BS and, against, the family and other people online commenting. I truly believe that he has her best interest at heart and will do whatever he can to protect her. I'm just so glad that he was able to find a way to communicate that to her. Just absolutely brilliant, so adorable, so beautiful. I'm glad we had at least this happy note to end on. I'm curious from anyone who maybe went through adoption or any situation of dealing with non-biological parents. We would love to hear your stories as well. Please share your thoughts on this one in the comments below, and any of your stories in the comments below. We would love to hear from you all. This has been a crazy ride of paternity mystery extravaganzas, but guys, I love you like OP loves his freaking daughter, and I will see you next time.